and share something that the Lord has really been dealing with me on here lately. So obviously, if you look around and you just look at the world through a very, any lens, I think you're going to recognize that we're seeing a lot more evil rising up and not really appearing, I wouldn't say, but definitely, I guess, being a little bit more public, being a little bit more proud of itself. And it's really heartbreaking to see. Stuff that I dealt with as a kid versus what my teenage daughter is dealing with are two entirely different playing fields. It's not even the same game anymore. And the good news is that we know Jesus wins in the end. We know that is an assurance, that is a promise. But getting through this life can be so hard and so absolutely discouraging. A friend of mine and I have been talking very much about trust and trusting God in the good and trusting Him in the bad. And my husband just got out of a 26-day hospital stay. And in this 26-day hospital stay, I had moments where I really did not know if my husband was going to survive. And I would pray and pray and pray, and one of the only things the Lord kept telling me was, I need you to trust me. I need you to trust me. I need you to trust me. And over the past couple of years, the Lord had really been dealing with me about the wilderness and Israel's journey through the wilderness, Elijah's journey through the wilderness, all of these people. And I think the wilderness seasons have become a buzzword. It's almost, there's books about this, there's sermons, there's songs, and in truth, I think a wilderness season, if you've been a Christian for any length of time, that you know that term, it's almost, you dread it, you don't really want anything to do with it. And in the past, since 2025 turned over, the Lord is really showing me that the wilderness is not anything to dread. It's almost something to embrace. And I really struggled with that. I really struggled with embracing hard seasons, embracing difficult seasons. And in Exodus 33, we get to witness a conversation between God and Moses. And he is instructing them. He says, and this is Caitlin's translation, you can take the promised land. You can have it. I will send my angels before you. I've promised it. It's yours. But because of your stubbornness and it's their lack of devotion to God. Their idolatry and idol worship. Because of these things, because you keep turning on me, because of your complaining, I'm not going with you. And Moses and the people of Israel repent, and Moses tells the Lord, he says, I don't want the promised land if you're not going. And it's such a difficult concept to grasp, to choose God's presence in the wilderness over the promise of abundance. And this morning I was reading Psalm 63, and I cannot tell you that I have ever read this psalm. I don't know of a time that I've ever read it and really taken in the words on the page. But David, I've actually got it pulled up, but David says, "Oh God, you are my God. Earnestly I seek you." This is what God was asking Israel to do in the wilderness. Because in this psalm, David is actually, it says, at least in my my Bible, there was a little note that said this was from when he was in the wilderness of Judah. So in the wilderness of his praise. And he says, you are my God. He is renouncing any other idol, any other thing that would exalt itself within his flesh above Elohim, above Jehovah, above Jesus. And he says, oh God, you are my God. Earnestly I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh faints for you, as in a dry and weary land where there is no water. So he is in a physical wilderness, just like we are. This world is a physical wilderness. But a lot of times we find ourselves in a spiritual one, where it's hard to pray, it's hard to trust, it's hard to seek, it's hard to have faith. And it's like you just can't get over that initial hump. Like, if I could just pray that one prayer, if I could just let that one tear cry, if I could just stop crying for 2 minutes, if I could do any of these things, then maybe. But then he says, as in his sanctuary. And I looked up the meaning of the word sanctuary as it's used here. And in the Strong's Concordance, it tells me that it means to be separated. The sanctuary is the separation. The sanctuary is the place of holiness and the place of consecration. And it's a place to be alone, not necessarily isolated, but to be set apart so you can commune one-on-one with God. He provides a place, a sanctuary, where we really get to know him. And in the wilderness is where that can be done. Because usually on mountaintops, we can get distracted by all the good things and all our blessings. And we spend most of our time really thanking God and praising him for all the things that he's done. And there's a time, a place, and a season for that. We know that from Ecclesiastes 3, that everything has a season and a time and a place. But where do we get to know the character of God? Where do we learn to love him and to appreciate him and to truly, wholeheartedly recognize God as God? I would never know God as my provider if I didn't need provision. I would never know him as my comforter if I never needed comfort. I would never know him as a healer if I had never seen him heal my husband. It is in the wilderness that we truly learn who he is. It was in the wilderness that he chose to dwell with his people for the first time, to really he had them create a dwelling place, because he told Moses, I long to dwell with my people. It was in the wilderness that he chose to do that. He chose to lead them through the wilderness so they would learn how to have a full, wholehearted relationship of dependence on him, because we were never meant to have it all together. It was in the wilderness that David said here, you're my God and I will seek you. My soul thirsts for you because I am in a wilderness. Wilderness creates a space for us to have nothing else but God. He is opening the door because he loves us so much. He is opening a window. He tore the veil to invite us in to a full, holy, righteous relationship with him, where we can fully know him, the God of the universe, the creator, and he can fully know us. So if you are walking through a wilderness, this is where you get to know God. This is where you get to know the God that said, before I formed you, I knew you. This is the God who, even while we were yet sinners, he still loved us. Don't forsake the wilderness. It's a special place.